Last night, a person pointed out a glaring error in video number 21, Humans Suck at Comparative Languages. I was actually told by my fundamentalist church that the King James Version was translated from Latin and only later editions were from Greek and Hebrew. I posted this believing myself to be right without fact-checking. As it turns out, I was wrong. The King James was strictly translated from Greek and Hebrew, except for a second Esdras, which was from Latin, but that's not an issue for most Protestant believers. Seeing how it was from Greek and Hebrew only, though, meant that the parts that were written originally in Aramaic were translated into Greek or Hebrew and then into English. Only in later translations did they translate directly from Aramaic. I was, of course, extremely embarrassed because I was having an online debate with someone and sent them to this video to prove a point, and someone pointed out the error right after. This just points out the fallibility of oral tradition. Most of the Bible was compiled after many centuries of oral tradition, and just like language and genes, it can change in factuality in time. The New Testament stories were not even written down until at least 40 years after Jesus was allegedly killed, unless the theoretical Q document was written earlier. The King James Version, being translated from Latin, is one of many oral falsities that I have had to eliminate by research, study, and humility. Half of religion is a holy book. The other half are things someone they know told them, or who someone else told the person who told them was true, so therefore it must be true, especially in terms of apologetics or prophecy. This is called anecdotal references. When you are told something with authority very young, especially if it sounds like it must be true, you won't even think about looking it up to find out if it's true or not. Citing your sources is extra work, but it makes the truth shine through easier, and it prevents looking incompetent and creating embarrassment. Sadly, because admitting you are wrong causes this embarrassment, many have convinced themselves they can't possibly be wrong to protect themselves from cognitive dissonance. I did happen to get lucky, though, when I realized I had written up a short video for this series last week that goes perfectly with this mistake and points it out completely. This was supposed to be made prior to the sacrifice video, but I forgot I had it. Anyway, here goes. I've gotten quite a few angry comments on this series by religious people who feel insulted that I'm saying that all religious people are stupid or insane. Well, if I thought that, I would have called this series, Why Do Complete Morons Still Believe in Religion? I know very intelligent people of faith. They claim that I'm calling all religious people insane. However, insanity is a definition of mental state and the ability to survive in society. And since the majority of the world is religious, they are clearly not insane, as religious can do well in society just as well, if not better, than the non-religious. The term that should be used is delusion. A delusion is an illusion about reality that you believe without question or just do not know. Ignorance is the parent of delusions. We all have delusions. I don't know how a lock works or how to pick one, or exactly the mechanism that makes plants grow, or quantum physics. I can pretend in my mind that I know to make myself feel better about myself, but deep down, I know I don't know. When you don't understand something, your brain naturally does one of two things. One, it ignores the subject because it has little importance or relevance in your life, or two, you make up a working explanation to help you muddle through. This working hypothesis gets you by unless you're challenged by reality, or people, or educated, and then that gap gets filled in, making things about reality more clear to you. I can't tell you the number of classes I've been in where a certain veil on how reality works is lifted, and I didn't even realize I was ignorant of my own ignorance. The concept was just out of sight and out of mind because I did not realize its importance in my life. A delusion is when you take the working hypothesis of what you don't know and strongly and dogmatically believe it. I have eliminated many of them over my life, and I may still have a few for all I know. The King James Version from Latin is a wonderful example. However, the more I know about the varying fields I have studied, I think I've eliminated the most important ones. Now, when you collect too many delusions in areas of your life that are vital to your ability to fit in with society, you are now insane. Now, I don't think that the majority of religious people are insane. There are some, but the majority are just delusional. This delusion can only be eliminated by introspection, education, understanding your own mind, and having at least a working knowledge of science and how it works. So why do these delusions persist? Well, many times you've never been challenged. Being around many skeptical people in the past few years has caused challenges to many of my prior ideas and delusions and caused me to reject them. And they had nothing to do with religion, just science and human behavior. If you never get into a debate or dialectic discussion, your delusions can persist for the rest of your life. A debate is a place where all arguments are sent to compete, and the best and most logical argument wins. If you make a delusional statement, then it should be challenged and corrected. At first, your pride is usually hurt, and it makes you feel uncomfortable because you feel inferior when something you knew for certain is being shot at. But over time, you will begin to develop better ways to defend your idea, or just fact mine like creationists. Or you will discard that delusion, especially if the person who challenged you was good at explaining a better way to think about the topic. Another reason why delusions persist is that our culture idealizes emotion and tends to vilify logic and reason. Look at many of our movies or shows. Look at how Spock is treated on Star Trek or any old science fiction. Emotion is what makes us human, and logic is for robots, according to older movies. You should go with what you feel or believe as opposed to the facts and evidence around you. Anyone who understands health and psychology will tell you that having emotions is important and healthy and integral to our very existence, but blindly idealizing them is stupid and is what can cause many delusions and the inability to cope with reality. Religious people are delusional in aspects of their life that are rarely challenged and are therefore protected from questioning. I do not want any delusions. Life is beautiful and wonderful enough without living in an imaginary world. The more you know about your world, the better you can affect it to make it a better place to live in.